Hi everyone, Mike Stuchiner, Master Herbalist here. And you know who's with me. He's with me every single video. My co-host, my sidekick, Bones. Give it up for Bones, everyone. Golf clap for Bones. A little louder. Good. Okay, so today's video is going to be about sleep. Healthy sleep, sleep issues. Why do we have such trouble sleeping? But before we get started, you know what I gotta do? I gotta give my disclaimer because that's simply what the law requires me to do. So you ready? Here we go. The video you're about to watch is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to treat, prescribe, or diagnose any specific medical condition. It is not to be used as a substitute for your primary healthcare provider's diagnosis, treatment plan, or information provided to you by him or her. Okay, we're good. Now, let's get into it. So, when my channel first started, I did a video about sleep formulas, okay? And I broke it down and I talked about the importance of what was in some of the sleep formulas I happen to like. Well, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about some of the things that I like to keep around in case I feel like I'm having an issue sleeping, whether it's falling asleep or staying asleep or any of these variety of reasons for why we have, and I sometimes maybe have problems sleeping. Now, it is a rare occasion when I don't sleep well or I don't sleep at all, but what I've learned is, for me, is that I like to basically keep in, what I like to keep with me are one or two formulas, usually one, that I will use on an as-need basis, and I'll then keep a bunch of individual herbs in tincture form or liquid cap or soft gel. Usually tincture is what I'll use. It's of minimal cost. They're not expensive at all, and they last a really long time. I mean, you can go on Amazon or many other websites and get them anywhere between $8 to $9 a piece. They're usually 1 to 2 ounces depending on the brand. And the reality is that they last for a really long time because you're not using these every single night unless, of course, you need to. But in general, you're not, okay? So, and I also like keeping the individual stuff around because it allows me to customize for my personal needs when I am having the issue. So if I'm having trouble sleeping one night, let's say because I can't turn my mind off, or because maybe I'm dealing with a little bit of pain from injuries I've had, or maybe I'm having anxiety issues that night, I can custom make a blend for myself for that evening and make it nice and strong based on my personal needs, okay? So let's begin with my suggestions for what I would consider two really good formulas. You don't have to keep them both around. No one is even saying you have to keep this list of herbs around. This is simply what I do. I'm an herbalist, so this is what I do. Do you have to? Absolutely not. Okay, so the first one I spoke about this in my last sleep video. What is the company Gaia Herbs makes a product called Sound Sleep. The reason I like Sound Sleep is I think Sound Sleep is a really well put together, what I call broad spectrum sleep formula. Here's why. In it you have anxiolytics for anxiety, analgesics for pain. You have sedatives like hops, which is really one of the few really what I would call true sedatives. You have kava kava, which again, antispasmodic, anxiolytic, and you have you basically have this broad spectrum of herbs that covers what I would consider to be the top reasons why people struggle to sleep, either go to sleep, stay asleep, or get a level of quality sleep. So that is an item that I really like, okay? I also like it because I find that if you use it for, let's say, a month or two straight every night, I find it to be very restorative as well. Nervous system restorative. I have found that over the years, when I would use it for a period of time, I noticed my recovery and my training was better. That's me personally. That's one of the things when I say restorative. I also found that when I took it years ago, when I found out about my anxiety to begin with, when I was using this for periods of time, one of the things I also noticed was when I had an anxiety issue or a panic issue, where it would maybe normally keep me down, and when I say down, what I mean is it would take me a few days to recover from it, in terms of how my nervous system felt, my brain, and the way I felt just in general mentally. I found that this also helped in terms of how well my nervous system became restored and how I bounced back a little bit quicker than what I would normally deal with. The next one is from the company, which I've never mentioned this company before, and I apologize for that, even though I never apologize to anyone, because apologies don't resolve problems. Right, customer service people? Yeah. The company is Herbs, etc., ETC, like etc., etc., etc. And I like Herbs, etc. They make some really, really great formulas, and they really know how to put together some nice formulas, and their concentrations are pretty darn good. Usually most of their stuff is either in tincture or you'll find it in a soft gel, which again, I'm a fan of, versus, let's say, a powdered capsule. So they make a product called Deep Sleep, not to be confused with Gaia Herbs Sound Sleep. This is called Deep Sleep. And this is, I would probably say a good majority of what's in here is going to be their California Poppy and Valerian. So this is not what I would call as full spectrum as Sound Sleep. This to me is more for issues that deal with anxiety, spasms, or because Valerian is a natural antispasmodic, and also for analgesic, for pain. So if you're dealing with anxiety, pain, spasm, things like that, this is a really nice formula when it comes to helping you be able to take the edge off, to be able to fall asleep. Now, there is no sedatives in here. Like, for example, there's no hops. There is a small amount, there is some chamomile in here, and there's some lemon balm, which are also great herbs. But overall, I would say that this is more, in my opinion, what I would consider to be more of an analgesic, antispasmodic, anxiolytic formula. Okay? But again, if those are the things that are your focus for why you can't sleep, that's another one that you can keep around the house. Okay? Again, they're not super expensive formulas. If you use them every single night, yes, cost does matter. But if you're using them on an as-need basis and it's only a once-in-a-while scenario, then the cost is going to be minimal to you when you break it down. Now, I'm going to now go into the list of herbs that I keep around, okay? And then I'm going to tell you at the end of this video what I like to do on a nightly basis, about, I don't know, I guess 30 to 60 minutes before I go to sleep. It could even be closer to when I go to sleep. It just depends on the evening and what I'm doing and how jacked up my mind is at that time, okay? So the first item is I like to keep around a full spectrum hemp. Now, as you all know, if you watch my hemp video, personally, I think Gaia makes the best on the market. I keep their liquid caps or their tincture around, and that's a big one for me because I find for me that about 15 to 30 milligrams before bed, I find it to be very relaxing, very restorative, helps me. I don't generally tend to have problems falling asleep, but I do find that it helps me just sleep through the night in a much smoother way. And when I wake up in the morning, I do not feel tired. I do not feel groggy. I do not feel like crap. Okay? So again, big fan of Gaia Herbs Full Spectrum Hemp. Next is California Poppy. Now, I'm a fan of California Poppy, and I keep California Poppy around. It is, by definition, an analgesic, which means it's a pain reliever. If you have, I personally have quite a few old injuries from powerlifting. I deal with stenosis, which thankfully does not necessarily affect my day-to-day life. I also have some TMJ issues, which can lead to some facial nerve and some nerve issues as well. I like California Poppy for that reason. I also, personally, I like to keep an individual tincture of St. John's wort around, because I find that St. John's wort works really well when it comes to any kind of nerve pain. And the combination between the analgesic effect of California Poppy with some St. John's wort really seems to work well for me. Okay? Now again, I only use them on an as-need basis. It's not, I can't tell you the last time I used either one of them, but I do keep them around because I do like to have those things just in case. Okay? The next one is probably what I would consider to be the strongest nervine on the market, which is passion flower. Now, I don't really necessarily keep passion flower around for that reason. I happen to love passion flower because, to me, passion flower is an herb that, if you're the kind of body person where your body is tired at the end of the day, but you can't always seem to shut your mind off from going 100 miles an hour, or you can't stop thinking, passion flower will absolutely be your godsend. It'll be your savior. It will absolutely be a great herb to use. It can be used on an as-need basis or on a nightly basis, either one, okay? Tincture, tea. I should also mention, you do not have to keep these just in tincture. If you even want to cut the cost a little more, you can buy a bulk tea, and you can make yourself a nice tea at the end of the day. Make yourself a formula, whatever herbs you want or need in that formula, and make just a tea out of it, okay? Yes, a tea, okay. The next that I rarely use the next herb, which is Valerian. I have nothing against Valerian. I think it's a great herb. I think Valerian is a pretty misunderstood herb, though. I said this in my previous video back a while when I talked about sleep, which is that people tend to think of Valerian as a sedative. It is not a sedative. It does not work as a sedative. It does not have any sedative action or properties. It is an antispasmodic and anxiolytic, okay? So if you're not in some type of feeling like that, or if you're not feeling anxious as the reasons why you're not falling asleep or staying asleep, then Valerian is not going to be super effective for you, okay? So that's part of the reason why I've never been a fan of this idea that Valerian is being marketed as a sleep herb, because in reality, it helps when it comes to aspects of why you can't sleep, but it works. But it should not be used as what would be considered a primary sedative, because it is absolutely not a sedative. Okay? The next one, and I keep this around because I'm a big fan of it. I take it during the day, and I will take it before bed, is Milky Oats, or oats in their milky stage that are extracted and made into a tincture, okay? I like it because it's a wonderful nervous system restorative tonic, okay? And I love it, and I use it all the time, and I find it to be extremely helpful. Now, understand one thing about this. This is not an herb that you use on an as-need basis. If you're going to use oats, you're in for the long haul. Months and months and months and months. And it can be used every day for the rest of your life if you really wanted to. Some people think you should take a break from herbs. This is one of those things that I don't think is necessary when it comes to Milky Oats. You can, but you don't have to. Okay, and now the final one, which again, I don't tend to use very often, if at all, is hops. Hops is, to me, the king of sedatives. It is one of the few true sedatives, and it really is just a wonderful, mild herb when it comes to the idea that it will help to support putting you to sleep and keeping you asleep. Okay, hops, yes, it's the same thing that's in beer, but I don't encourage you to drink beer to get the hops. I encourage you to take hops to get your hops. Okay. I'm going to mention one more actually, and this I am only mentioning because I really think I find it to be a very interesting herb. It is not always easy to get, but if you're able to get it in bulk, I would suggest you try to buy some, is the herb Blue Lotus. Now, I'm a fan of Blue Lotus. If you want to be a dreamer and you like having very vivid dreams, then Blue Lotus is for you. Okay, I'm a fan of it. It is not easy to get necessarily. There are some formulas out there that use Blue Lotus in there, but to me, it is, I would rather use Blue Lotus alone in regards to purchasing it. Rather than getting a whole formula with Blue Lotus in it, I like to use or have Blue Lotus alone by itself as a what's known as a simple or a single herb. Okay, again, this is a great herb when it comes to people who really want to have vivid dreams, who want to remember their dreams, who want their dreams to be very what's the words I'm thinking of here? Very real, very memorable, very in your face kind of thing. Okay, so if that's your gig and that's something that you're interested in, then Blue Lotus is definitely something you might want to give a try to. Okay, so those are the things that I keep around. Now, to end this video, I want to discuss what I do on a nightly basis. For me, what I find to be the most common things I use is every night I'll take a couple of capsules of the full spectrum hemp from Gaia Herbs or a couple of dropperfuls. The other thing that I will often do is either a tincture, a capsule, or a cup of tea is I will also make passion flower. Okay, I love passion flower because, again, for me, it's the strongest nervine there is, number one, and number two, I really use it because I happen to be one of those people that has a lot of trouble shutting his mind off at the end of the day. So I find a nice hot cup of passion flower tea or, a couple of dropperfuls of the tincture with a glass of water and a couple of capsules of the full spectrum hemp, I'm good to go. Those are probably, for me, the two things I use most consistently. Okay, I do like sound sleep, and I will use it on an as-need basis, and I will also tell you I do really like the deep sleep formula as well. But to back up for a second, as far as the sound sleep formula is concerned, I will use it on an as-need basis, but I will also, for periods of time, I'll use it for a month, and then I won't use it anymore for a while. Simply because I'm using it more for restorative purposes when I use it for that long period of time. I've also, just so you're all aware, I have also used the sound sleep if I really feel like during the day I need something if I'm having a really bad day or a really stressful day and I'm really in need of something that kind of helps to level me off, instead of using the full 3 capsule dosage, I will just take one of them in the afternoon because it will not make me fall asleep. It will not make me tired. It's just enough to kind of cut the edge for me. And that's what I like to do. Again, you can do the same exact thing with the deep sleep. You can use one soft gel during the day if you feel like you need something to kind of help that feeling of taking off the edge. And again, the hemp can be used at any time of day as well. But I personally, myself, I like to use the hemp at nighttime, right before bed. I will take it with passion flower. If I am having a period where my jaw is acting up or my stenosis feels like, maybe I trained a little bit heavy that day and my stenosis is acting up, I'll throw in the California poppy and the St. John's wort. Done. Again, I just want you to get the understanding and the idea. of how I use herbs in scenarios like this. This is why I'm a big fan of keeping singles, aka individual herbs, around, because I like to be able to custom make my formulas. So, in review, the two formulas, Sound Sleep from Gaia Herbs or Deep Sleep from Herbs, etc. The individuals, Hemp extract, full spectrum, my favorite is Gaia. California poppy, you can use Gaia herbs, you can use Herb Farm. Passion flower, again, any tincture or tea. Valerian, Milky Oats, and hops. And again, a good combination with the California poppy is St. John's wort, specifically for anxiolytic and nerve pain issues. Okay? So I hope this was helpful for you guys. And coming up in my next video, this is a big one. The winter season is coming up. So my next video is going to be my top picks for supporting a healthy immune system. Did you get that? I'll say it again. Supporting a healthy immune system. Mike Stuchiner, Master Herbalist. Bones. Till next time.